I'm very grateful that by the time I started producing, I had already spent most of my life playing a variety of instruments: guitar, piano, drums, bass, vocals, clarinet. But I'm aware that there are a lot of people who are either just starting out or are just now deciding that they're going to dive in head first and really invest some time into becoming a proficient instrumentalist. If that's you, I want to help you to be able to get started quickly, but also to maybe even have something to show other people before too long. So if I had to go back to the very beginning of learning each instrument, the first thing I would do is form a practice plan. At this point, I'm sure you already know where you're at in this journey, so you should have a pretty good idea of how much you could get done in a specified amount of time. A lot of people suggest spending an hour every single day practicing your instrument, and while that is great, it may not be realistic for everyone. Stuff comes up, life is busy, we got work, school, family, church, whatever. It is important that there is a level of intention and sacrifice here, but you also need to be realistic. When you're making a goal like this, it's definitely better to meet this goal most every time rather than shoot too high and then keep falling short. Just know that whenever you do miss your practice goal, it's all good. Don't beat yourself up too much. Just keep moving, and if necessary, you may even need to adjust your practice plan to better fit your schedule. You also need to plan exactly what you're going to work on during this practice time. If you walk up to your instrument without a plan, you're probably not going to get as far as you could with a plan. Or you may spend the whole time just playing around and not necessarily moving yourself forward because you didn't have an aim or a goal for that practice. Here's what worked really well for me growing up and hopefully could work really well for you, and that is learn a specific song and learn it well. There are lots of YouTube videos out there that teach you how to play specific songs on pretty much any instrument. Most of them have the difficulty in the title, whether it's like beginner, intermediate, advanced, but if it doesn't, you should be able to tell pretty quickly if that video matches up with your skill level. Use the chosen video to guide you through learning this song and keep working on it until you're able to perform it on your own. This may sound like a bit much right now, but your first song may be something like Mary Had a Little Lamb, and then eventually you can work up to Through the Fire and Flames by Dragon Force or whatever. From there, and this was a real game changer for me, once you are comfortable with the song you've been working on, find a new one, begin this process again, but this time look for connections that you can make with this new song and the song that you worked on previously, or really any of the songs that you've worked on previously. This could be a specific technique that is applied to this song and another one, or maybe you even notice that a lot of popular music uses the same chord progressions in these different songs. Now this one is huge for me because years ago I had this light bulb moment where there were these two songs that I knew how to play already, and it just hit me that these songs were not in the same key, but they essentially did have the same chord progression, just relative to the key that they were in. So one song is playing A minor, F, C, G, while the other song is playing B minor, G, D, A. These are completely different chords, but the movements of the chord progression are proportionate, meaning if you played these two songs in the same key, you'd be playing the same chord progression. These sort of connections are ultimately what enabled me to be able to play by ear, and today I'm able to like transpose and play the same song in different keys without much prep if I need to. This next part can be hard at times, but honestly it's the one thing that's moving you forward as a musician, and that is this. Every time that you sit down at your instrument, look for something new to improve. A lot of times this looks like working on the dynamics of the song, maybe the tempo. You don't want to speed the song up or slow it down too much. It could be your form, your posture, your intonation. There are so many things that you could look out for. And I wouldn't be telling you this if I wasn't actively doing this with my practice, 16 or so years later. You cannot move forward as a musician unless you're identifying the areas that need improvement and then actively attacking those areas. And the reason that these practices worked so well for me is I was just ready to play something. I didn't want to dwell in the piano book stuff that a lot of people do. I didn't want to work one-on-one with a person because I just felt like that would feel more like school than fun instrument playing. So eventually I just took it one song at a time and like actively attacked that one song. And then it felt like a huge accomplishment whenever I was able to like play and sing a song as a beginner. It was a lot of fun. Above everything else, I want to encourage you to be patient through whatever this process looks like for you. If you are going to try this one song at a time practice that I used growing up, do keep in mind that you are playing a longer game when it comes to learning every single one of your scales. But the trade-off is that you get to jump straight into playing music that you actually enjoy, which is what I was all about and honestly still am. Lastly, I want to say that everyone has a different way of learning that suits them best. So if you think that that could be private lessons or a music book, then I encourage you to try those out as well. As always, I'd love to hear any thoughts you may have on this topic in the comments down below. And if you like this, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing for more stuff like this. Thanks for hanging out.